All right, we're good.
Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and start out this meeting by, discussing a few things that we've got to discuss. At the beginning of January, we had a discussion on call signs. We weren't sure what exactly we wanted to do on that. I do believe we had a small vote in the emails. Can somebody remind me of the one that we chose?
Believe they wanted to do a letter and then a set of 3 numbers.
Okay, so we just need somebody to, we're going to go ahead and delegate that out. Somebody to create a document stating what, each rank's call sign. So we would have Alpha Bravo Charlie, Delta Echo, and I'm not sure how far we need to go. I do believe we have 11 ranks.
Should be about.
Would we do it by rank, or would we do it by maybe like group of your levels, like 3 groups? You have your low ranking officers, your mid tier, and your high ranking officers.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do like Alpha, Charlie, Delta.
Might be easier.
Possibly, very possibly. So Alpha Bravo Charlie, maybe Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. Delta could be for non-solo cleared cadets, and then they would move to the Charlie class.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's cleared for patrol, so we can clearly distinguish who needs to be put into a vehicle to learn the ways of the road and the ways to patrol.
That makes sense. And then whatever number you have after could denote like a higher rank.
I
So,
do
like,
believe what we were going to do with the numbers is we were going to do 1 through 100, and we were going to allow people to choose their numbers, and that number will always stay with you.
So it's like your badge number and your call sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe you were going to as well disallow some numbers.
Correct. We are not allowing number 69 or number 420.
Makes sense.
That way we have nobody fighting over a silly number,
Yeah.
So are we in agreement with that setup for call signs?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Works for me.
We'll definitely need somebody, not tonight by any means, but within the next few days to go ahead and make a call sign roster that we can get a hold of quickly and get, people filled out on the call signs. We do have one small review on the standards of practice that we have come to an agreement, me and my co-commissioner here, Mr. Bronson. We are going to allow male and females to have unnatural hair colors as long as they are not distracting to the uniform. We are also going to allow to have hair if you are, a female, you can have hair that is neatly kept. So it can be down, it can be past your shoulders, but it has to be very neatly kept. It cannot be infringing on your face, and it cannot look messy by any means.
I want to make sure y'all stay professional and easily identifiable, more so than just the uniform.
Exactly. Another topic that we have at hand is creating a kind of a too long didn't read channel in the Discordia for our SOPs. It would be a basic rundown of our standards of practice on each scene. So we would need a store robbery, any crime that we'd come up to. It would be basically like a quick glance for our cadets to look at, or even our higher ranking officers, if they're not sure how to handle a situation, they can get to that section of the Discordia quickly and refresh themselves.
Yeah, that could be possible.
I wanted to briefly touch on our patrol vehicles. So, our patrol vehicles are going to be owned by us personally. I have a wonderful man that supplies me with license plates for y'all that will have your call signs on the back whenever you buy your personal vehicle. Make sure we're going to get a log made in the Discordia as well of your personal vehicle that you purchased, along with, your price for your upgrades and whatnot. It does come out of your personal account. That's something you got to work towards. We haven't discussed whether or not we were going to be partially reimbursing or anything like that. Me and Mr. Bronson will have to have a conversation about that at a later date. But for the moment, we are going to allow you guys to choose whatever vehicle you want. You come, into this department, and you can choose from the three. You will start out with 3 vehicles. You will have a police issued not motorcycle, excuse me, police bike. It's a bicycle with lights and sirens. You will have a buffalo, and remind me, Mr. Bronson, of the last one. It's adjacent to a Taurus.
I believe it's
A
an
Torrance.
old. I think it's an old school Dominator, if I believe correctly.
So, something like that. They are all $1 within our wonderful dealership downstairs. Right now, we are currently kind of at a standstill with that. Any vehicle that you purchase will be repossessed by the state. So don't go too crazy with it. But those are our current vehicles that are up for grabs. We will have a dealership that we work with hand in hand. They are going to be bringing us 1 or 2 cars each month that will be kind of a limited time run. You can buy it while it's in the dealership, but once it's out of the dealership, it's gone for another year.
Do you wish to touch on the upgrading of the vehicles at all?
Oh, would you like to step in and speak on that one?
I don't see why not.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, for your own personal vehicles, I believe we have said that upgrades are doable. Um, although we have seen some cars out and about with a nitrous canister installed on them. Uh, I don't believe we are going to be allowing police issue vehicles with nitrous in them. We are not street racing vehicles; these are patrol cars.
Correct.
Other than
Got a question on that.
Yes,
Go
Mr.
for it.
Cakes.
For the heat vehicles, would that be possible for it?
No, sir.
I believe our heat, once you get that engine in there,
Mm-hmm.
the turbo and whatnot should be able to keep up with most vehicles on the road. And hopefully, if they are of the higher end variety, they have nitrous installed in them, then hopefully there won't be too much of a hassle to deal with, especially being pursued, by a heat vehicle. Although, if that does become a problem, I think we could get someone in, one of them eggheads with a laptop that can kind of tune up the computer, the brain of the cars that we have. So
I do believe there's a special chip built into all of our cars that makes our cars a little bit quicker. It's the police tune, something the mechanic was telling me about the other day.
the upgrades, I believe, are going to be coming out of pocket, though. I don't believe we can always discuss this. Any reimbursements for upgrades to vehicles? It's more going to depend on how things play out. We'll say. Uh,
Hmm.
if we're finding more times than not, officers of the lower rank are just out on patrol and uh, losing sight of the vehicles that they are pursuing, and it's becoming an issue, well, we can have that conversation then.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's it for the upgrades to them, though.
I do
anything?
believe so. I had something on my mind, and it somehow slipped out of my mind. Give me just a moment.
Oh,
No.
I have a question on the upgrades.
Go for
Will the ability to upgrade to the harness always be free? Because right now, down in the mechanic shop, they can install a harness for us right now.
Possibly.
If you go downstairs, we still have our workbench. It's not there, but it's there.
No, I know it's there now. I'm asking if that will be taken away.
Oh,
Because you can get a harness now, but I'm just asking if it will get taken away in the future.
I am unsure of that. I'm going to be honest. I do know we'll have repairs down there, but I don't think we'll have much more than that.
Okay.
I don't believe so. That way, then you go to the mechanic, and I'm sure the mechanics will cut a decent deal on most things, being patrolling officers. Uh, we can always talk to them as well to make sure that some sort of discount is given to the police issued vehicles. Not
Oh,
too
I
sure about anything
remember.
personal.
I remember what I was going to touch on. Our
Comments would you wish to
vehicles are to stay within regulation. Regulation colors being black and white, but I will allow a pearlescent. If you want to choose another color for your pearlescent of your personal patrol car, I do believe I'm okay with that as long as Mr. Bronson is okay with that.
I do not see a problem with that, especially if they're going to be their own vehicles.
Mhm.
Although I will say, be careful with that. Anything you customize makes you stand out just a little bit more.
Mhm.
If you get on the wrong side of certain people and you got a specific pearlescent on your car, they might use that as a easily identifiable
Mhm.
way to come get you, kind of a thing. Just
Mhm.
keep that in
Mhm.
mind. But I have no problem with adding a pearlescent to any car.
Okay. And then, Mr. Bronson, would you like to talk on the loadouts?
Yeah, I can do that. So I guess at the beginning, we're gonna keep all the low ranks to a sidearm. There's a choice. You're only allowed to carry one between the 45 and the revolver. You'll have your taser. You'll have your cuffs, your flashlight. Uh, please be sure to put on some body armor before you go out. I would suggest bringing two along with you. If they do take time to put on, I doubt you're going to be getting into too many situations where you're going to need more than two in in your back pocket, kind of a deal. When you getting an injury, an IFAC, I think five is pretty decent to be bringing around with you.
Mhm.
Let me see what
You'll
else I
also
got
need
on here.
your baton.
Yep. And your radio, obviously. I would also recommend uh, about 10 empty evidence bags, as well as in our lab, we have a CSI um, inventory
Armory.
you can pull from.
can I
In
propose
there,
different amounts of evidence bags?
oh, for sure. What would you rather?
50, because evidence bags can go by super fast.
That is true. I have no problem. If you want to bring more, then I say minimum of 10 at least. Then, if you want to bring
Hmm.
more, by all means, bring more. Because also in the CSI inventory, you will find a drug test kit, some DNA field swab kits, and some GSR test kits. And I believe all of them require empty evidence bags as well. Uh,
You'll
uh,
also
would,
need your camera.
that is true too. If we would ever get big enough to have partners, it's just yes, that camera can come in quite useful. I believe there's also fingerprint kits
Mobile,
downstairs as well. There's a few of
the
them, I believe.
mobile fingerprint scanner.
Oh, yeah, that as well. Uh, And the mobile fingerprint scanner, you have the lift kits as well for fingerprints downstairs. I do believe, like I said, there's two. The mic saw and a regular fingerprint lift kit. The regular one is more so for smooth surfaces like glass, tables, cars, things of the such, whereas the mic saw, I believe, is for more rough surfaces. all of these things, I would probably only recommend maybe 5 at most. We do have an access tool as well. It's just to shim for doors. You're finding the car needs to be propped open by one of us. You can carry one of those around with you as well. There's lots of choice. Once you rise up through the ranks, though, weaponry kind of gets a bit expanded for you. You end up with a SMG that we have downstairs. Once again, if you progress past that and you get to the point where there is the M4 or the shotgun or the special carbine, or if you make your way up to be able to get the sniper rifle we have downstairs, it is recommended you only carry one. We will be keeping track of what is taken out by everybody. Your serial numbers and whatnot are ran through our system when you do take it out. If you do wish to switch, I would say you started with the revolver and you want to grab the 45. Um, we do have a disposal bin down below. We do keep track of what gets put in there. We'd also advise that you tell a higher up and they make a note of it. And then you can go and grab yourself your new firearm. And the same would go for any long rifle, SMG of the sort that you decide to pick up. If we see that you are not doing that, we will be having probably a stern conversation at the beginning. Please make sure that you're just keeping track of your weaponry. I don't believe there's much else for loadout wise. I can go down. If you wouldn't mind, I might go downstairs real quick just to check to make sure we've gone through everything.
Of course, Mr. Bronson.
I will be right back.
Oh, how are you Tuesdays going?
It's been a
Not
long
too
one.
bad. Yeah. Honestly, pretty tired, but pretty excited to hear all this information. You haven't mentioned it yet, and apologies if you have, but are there going to be like certifications that we're going to cover? Like, are people going to have to get certified for Air One or water units or any of that
Yes.
nature? Okay.
Yes. So basically every class that we're going to offer will have a certification to it. So we'll have Air 1, I do believe a marine unit to deal with the boats and whatnot. I do believe we have a heat certification as well as a motorcycle certification, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Cakes.
Yes, they're built into one.
And then we had one more, and I don't remember which one it is.
I was gonna ask if we want to make high caliber one, or do we just want to leave that up to ranks?
I would leave that one up to ranks. We'll wait for Mr. Bronson to kind of pick his brain on that, but my personal vote would leave that up to the ranks. I feel like after you get a certain level, you're trusted, and I don't feel like you need a certification at that point.
Gotcha.
Certification for the higher calipers.
Hmm.
Kind of putting 2 and 2 together from what I heard.
Yes, sir.
At the moment, I know that you can't take out certain armaments unless you are a certain rank. So going along with what Miss Noir said here, that I believe once you are high enough ranks, we trust you enough to be able to use them. And if you misuse them, well, then that's going to lead to probably a different set of problems for you.
Gotcha. I know
Uh,
we can't see the sniper rifles, so
No, I believe that is for
that'd be like a
a
SWAT thing, wouldn't it?
more or less, or any special operations unit that we might have up and running here. It's very few times in a shootout situation that you would be needing a long range rifle as such. And I did notice the downstairs in the CSI lab, real quick, when you grab that camera, please do not forget your SD card. That's how you will store your photos. We also have a portable document printer.
Oh, sweet.
Yep, most of those documents that will be in there are anything from a search warrant to repossession to notice of entry. Most of that has to be signed off on by preferably a high-ranking officer or a judge. The restricted ones, when you go to use it, will be have to be used by a judge.
Do we have a
Have
judge?
you? I don't believe we do at the moment.
Not currently. I do believe DOJ is still in very, very early stages of being formed.
Gotcha.
Quinn, have you seen our portable document printer?
Negative, I have not. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so every time you use one of them, there is an empty document down there in the CSI as well.
Okay.
Once again, that is just to the left of the laboratory. You just got to look at that whiteboard, and it's right there.
Awesome.
I believe if it is not quite programmed yet or not, I haven't had a chance to look over it, but that will be how you will be able to just print, and you can just show them. It will appear just as like you flashing your ID to somebody. You don't actually have to give them what gets printed out.
Okay.
So we will be going through those steps as well once we're more up and running in that sense. But that's more so for the restricted documents and that. But other than that, I believe most of it was kind of covered. As most of you should know, when you grab ammunition from our armory, if you are grabbing a single 45 ACP bullet, you are grabbing just that. It is not a full magazine that you are grabbing. You are grabbing a single bullet. So at the moment myself, I have uh, 90 rounds for the 45 ACP on my person. So that's a full clip and 8 backup. Just to keep that in mind, um, you'll also notice that when you go to use it, you will have to keep track of what is in your pockets. That's probably a big thing too if some things are going down out and around the city.
Also on the
Yes.
loadouts, for the fingerprint kit, you need the little microsol,
Like microsil.
microsol.
Microsil,
Yes,
yeah.
we
That
wouldn't
is
want to forget that.
so we have the regular fingerprint kit as well. You need the microsol to lift as well. I haven't had a chance to actually properly use them, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest with
so I'm guessing it would be like getting fingerprints from like a bank vault or something like that.
you. Mhm.
I do believe you can also get them off cars.
Yes, which is one thing. If you are approaching a vehicle, I believe if you just third eye the back of it, you can leave your fingerprint on it.
Hmm.
That way, then, if that car gets pulled over later in the day and there's a bolo out for it, you can check for that fingerprint. So don't forget to do that if you're out and about
Hmm.
and something were to happen to you.
Hmm. Do we have any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Yeah. For the recording, I would like to say I usually carry around 2 pairs of handcuffs, just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I recommend that.
Okay. That is something I need to touch on just quickly. We are having a bit of an issue with the supplier for the handcuffs. We are working diligently to get with that manufacturer and get things sorted out. For the moment, we are having a little bit of issues with it. So try not to use them if you can. Um, for the moment, they work just fine, but when you try to escort somebody by thinking about escort, it's a little wonky. So we are working on that as well. For the moment, just use your F2 muscle and maybe hold them tight in your lap if you've got to take them somewhere while they're handcuffed.
Sounds good. Are you guys going to be working on a contraband list so we can see what is legal and what is kind of what we should look out for?
Yes, I can actually touch on something right now. Uh, if you see an individual with lockpicks on them, it will come to pass that they are technically illegal to own. Um, I prefer if you were to come across someone who had them, if it was just a simple confiscation of them, unless, a crime is being committed with them. But they are not easily and should not be easily purchasable.
Question on that.
Uh, go
Mhm.
for it.
You can buy advanced lockpicks from the tool shop,
For
but you
now.
can't buy lockpicks. So how do?
Yeah, that's happening just for the moment.
Mhm.
Once the government implements a few more things, they will be removed from that.
Mhm.
All
It's
right.
just for further notice, or for future notice. Sorry, not further notice, future notice. But yes, they will be considered illegal because we have our access tool, which is what should be a legal item. We should have them, and I believe I'll have to get back to you on this one. Any tow truck driver might have an access tool. But lockpicks are not something that a civilian should really be carrying around with them.
I do believe EMS also has access tools, if I'm not mistaken.
Possibly, I'd have to check with Miss Ophi.
Mhm.
Yes, Quinn, you were gonna say something?
Oh no, I just said I get it.
Ah,
But we can definitely work in the future to get a kind of itemized list of common things that we might find on people, and kind of categorize it by confiscation or jail time.
mhm.
That is definitely something that we could work on.
That'd be quite easy.
Yeah, I was mostly thinking from FTO perspective, getting
Mhm.
people used to seeing what they need to see and what they can take and whatnot.
Mhm.
Oh, that was the other certification, was FTO. That was the other one that I wanted to get people certified for.
I'll take
Gotcha.
a fan, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to try to touch base on that a little bit. Just, I would like the FTOs to have a special, certification. That way, just not anybody and everybody can go around claiming that they're a field training officer. Me personally, I don't mind training, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't think I would go for an FTO role. So I want it to be kind of a choice to take that certification and a choice to say, I'd like to train ranking officers and, help them grow in this department.
Now to add on to that, how it's been in many other cities that I've been a police in.
Mhm.
After you reach the rank of sergeant, you become automatically an FTO.
I
Were
don't
you?
want to force FTO on anybody that's a high ranking. I feel that it should be a choice. Obviously, you still need to train to a certain degree. If you have, a, a non-solo cleared cadet, so just a regular cadet rank, that needs to go out in the field, take them with you by all means, but you do not have to take on the role of actual FTO. FTO is somebody who is assigned directly to working with cadets and lower ranking officers to help them build themselves. FTOs would also be assigned to maybe we have a corporal that is declining in certain areas and needs a little bit of retraining.
Mhm.
That's what our FTO role would be for. They would be designated to working with lower ranking officers to help them reach their full potential. And with that being said, obviously we would still need to help, train, of course.
Mhm.
But it's more or less like you kind of opt in to make sure that you're the first pick, if that makes sense.
Now, for sergeants not being FTOs, I would recommend maybe them being an FTO instructor. Where they have to do like the academies and all that.
Hmm.
Because sergeant, you're basically you're a supervisor. You want to be
Hmm.
shown you got these more abilities than a senior lead officer or senior officer.
Hmm.
It's just so they don't have to take like cadets out on the streets every day, but they would lead the
Hmm.
academies basically.
Hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a thing. I really would like to strive to have, you know, academies and whatnot be done, um, tandem with people still on patrol. I know that that's a very common problem in a lot of forces is, you have 10 FTOs out in the field with 10 cadets and you have nobody patrolling the streets. So that's where I'm kind of sitting on the edge of that is I'd like to still have patrol on the streets as we're training.
At the most, it should be is 3 FTO instructors at a training or academy.
I
in my mind.
definitely agree.
I would agree to that.
Are we gonna write that in the little thing that me and Jesse are making up?
If you don't mind. Is
Just
there
make a
anything
mental
else that we can think of?
I would just maybe suggest, knowing your bandwidth for how many trainees you can take on. So, what we used to do in the bureau is equivalent of 2 rookies to 1 FTO,
Mhm.
and the active FTO. So that would basically help you gauge like what applicants you can take on as a suggestion, just to make sure.
I actually really like that.
I very much agree with that.
Yeah, and you can even, I would even suggest assigning a rookie to an FTO, not necessarily to like be the one to train them the entire way, but just to make sure and check in with the rookie, make sure that they're making progress where they need to, and to work with the other FTOs to make sure that whatever is our checklist that they need to fill up gets done, and doesn't fall through the cracks or anything.
I definitely agree with that. I do believe Mr. Cakes made a training document for the cadets, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, he might still be writing.
I have the cadet sheets, but Jesse made the training document for the
Okay.
FTOs, like the Rio 2.
Yeah, I'm talking about the actual the checklist
Oh, yeah.
saying that they've done the X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying like, kind of hand them off, kind of. I'm guessing. Sorry, I was in
It's
my head
just,
when you were talking.
no, you're good. It's like have a rookie basically, or a cadet, excuse me, have like a supervisor or a mentor that is like assigned to them. So it just makes sure that they check in with them, that they don't get forgotten about. And because I've had it where cadets, like their entire list had been qualified, but no one was in charge of it. No one took the initiative to be like, oh, they are solo cleared. So that way, it's kind of like a checks and balance.
I definitely agree with that.
Again, it's not that whatever assigned FTO has to be the one that goes out with them. It's just they're there to
Ensure they don't fall
Yep.
through the cracks and that they're actually getting the training that they need.
exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Also, would just trade out cadets as well. So, there's not one person just writing down on one cadet sheet document. There's actually other opinions on that.
I definitely
cadet.
agree with that as well. So, what I would say to merge those two ideas together is that you have your mentor who is going over your sheet, and that mentor is in charge of that cadet. But that cadet needs to go out with multiple other officers and get the officers to fill out the sheet.
Yeah, so basically how it is.
They're getting a well-rounded education.
Yeah, so it's just a basic checklist, phase 1 through 5. There's 2 signatures. You got to have 2 signatures to get signed off to the next phase, and then there's also notes beneath it for the FTO to write notes about the cadet.
Agree to that.
Sweet, sounds good.
Way of doing it that way, then it's not all just word of mouth kind of a deal. Would we allow the cadets to view their sheets without comments on it, so they could see where they're to, or they would have to check in with us to see what they would still need before they can progress?
To be honest, I wouldn't have a problem with them seeing the sheet and seeing the comments. To be honest with you, because we shouldn't be writing anything nasty, inappropriate in those comments. They should always be constructive criticism,
Mm-hmm.
so that they know what to work on.
I
Anything that's
would.
shared there should be told to the cadet.
I would have to
Correct.
find a way to set it where
You
the
can
cadets
share it
can
to
only
view
view.
only.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that. I can show you.
I would just have to get FTO specific email. That's the only thing. I think.
I don't think that would be a problem by any means.
All right, yeah, we can do that then.
Because there would only be, not a handful, but like less than probably 10 for the first few months of FTOs that would be able to even write in that document by any means.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
I think you wanted to go over use of force.
Oh, yes. Use of force at any scene. You should be responding with the correlating weapon. If somebody is trying to punch you, you would pull your baton or your taser and try to, remove that threat on your life. Correct. There should be no reason why you're pulling out your sidearm for unarmed civilians. If you have an armed civilian that has a pistol out, you should respond with your pistol. So on and so forth. So if you're coming to a scene and you feel the need that there's already fire already on the scene, you need to make sure to respond with your pistol out until the scene is clear. Another brief thing I want to talk with on that aspect. Using your taser for laughs is not allowed by any means. There should be no reason your taser should be discharged under any circumstance, whether it's a laughing, joking matter or consensual. Our tasers are a tool of our job and our trade, and if we misuse them, they will be taken away. You never know when somebody has a heart condition or if they're, they might say, oh, yeah, tase me, tase me, tase me. And then next thing you know, you've got a lawsuit on your hands.
Yes, but if they go down and hit the head.
It's a liability on the department.
Just be smart with it.
That being said, I am all for having taser parties. I don't know if you guys have ever had a taser party, but a taser party is very fun.
What
If,
is a
Listen,
taser
I'm
party?
gonna put the cadets through pepper spray and taser training. All right.
Okay,
As
so a
they
taser
should. They
party.
should see what it's like to be used on them.
At my old department, what we would do is a taser party was a way for police officers to relieve stress and kind of shake out the problems of the day of the week. What we would do is we would go down to the garage downstairs and we would all pull out our tasers. We'd pick a corner and we'd all just run around tasing each other for about 15 minutes, just having a good laugh and good fun. And then after that, we kind of got our need to tase each other out and tase civilians and whatnot. And, we all just had a good giggle about it. We moved on.
Can we have DP9 Fridays?
No, sir.
No, I guess that should be another thing too. If you get to the rank where you can take out a DP9, which is our beanbag shotgun, I doubt the need for a taser and a beanbag shotgun on yourself at the same time would be fully necessary, as they both do roughly the same thing.
Uh, depends, I would say, sir.
By all means.
Because
How so?
with me, I have a taser on my holster there,
Yes, sir.
but with like a sorry, I'm used to like a racking system, where you can like rack guns into your car.
Mm,
So like we would have a beanbag shotgun, an AR, and like a semi-automatic rifle in our uh, rack system at all times. Then the civilians wouldn't be able to access that.
Oh, you're saying like a lockbox in the vehicle?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
okay.
But if you're gonna be using a beanbag shotgun, just don't pull out a taser. In my opinion, you can still keep the taser on you, but
Rethinking my previous statement, I can see the range of the DP9 being beneficial in certain circumstances more so than a taser, because I believe the taser might not even clear this room, whereas the DP9, well, it's still using a cartridge to fire that beanbag.
Mhm.
So I might end up I will retract that statement actually. When you get to that level, if you feel the need, by all means, you can carry both. Actually,
in
I'm
my personal
somewhat okay
opinion, we
with
should
that.
rarely get to that level to be using the beanbag shotgun.
I'm sorry.
We shouldn't even be getting to that level where we have to use the beanbag shotgun, unfortunately.
That's true.
But sometimes it happens, you know.
Yeah, this all comes back to the escalation of force, really. But I think yeah, you should be okay to carry both. You need the range that time. You will notice too that in the armory, we only have the 12 gauge. You will need that for the DP9.
Yes. Is that an actual robbery?
I'm sorry.
Would that Polito Bank be an actual robbery, or is that someone, testing the alarms? I know sometimes they have maintenance days over there.
Well, how many of us are clocked in?
Mm,
That that might what? Give me. I might have to make a quick call here.
Mr. Kangaroo, get out of his cage again.
Does Mr. Kangaroo rob banks?
Sorry, Mr. Cakes, what did you say?
Said did the Mr. Kangaroo rob banks?
I think Mr.
I hope
Kangaroo is
not.
testing their alarm system. Hopefully,
Oh, gotcha.
I will. I'm gonna quickly check our cameras here. I'll verify.
I keep forgetting
You
those
know,
are a thing.
I do believe I sent him up to Miss to Polito. Go ahead and clean the back room, if I'm not mistaken. It slipped my mind. I apologize for that. Completely slipped my mind that I told him he needs to go clean up that mess he made back there. He was in there the other day dropping off stuff to the security deposit box for me, and he kind of left everything askew.
Understandable.
Anybody think of anything else they'd like to talk about or clear up?
not currently. No.
Well, questions or concerns can be brought forth at any time, really.
Ride-alongs.
Oh, with
I do have
civilians?
to amend something really quick. I said numbers 1 through 100 for the call signs.
Mhm.
I should have said 1 through 1,000. Excuse me for that. That
I
slipped my mind a bit because I know that I said 420 is not allowed, but
After saying 1 to 100.
You might want to put 666 in there.
yeah, I
just
was
to-
just thinking that as well.
Yeah. I figured that's what you meant, but so I let it slip, but I pick up what you're putting down.
There we go. We have it added in there now in
Delta
the
triple
command
three.
chat. That's actually a pretty nice one. I'll be 333. Maybe I'll be 007.
Suggest 1337.
Oh, that's above 1,000, Mr. Bronson.
I can't count. It's fine.
That's why we became cops.
Y'all know how to read?
Only when
That's
we're writing
hieroglyphics right
reports.
there for me.
I know how to write, but I don't know how to read.
These are all just rough estimations of what words should be.
All right. I do believe I interrupted a thought. I apologize for that. Mr. Quinn, were you saying something?
No, it wasn't. But I did think of something. I mean, I know you asked for like some sort of sheet for call signs. We have a directory. We could just add a tab.
You are correct in that. Add a tab to
Um,
the directory to have the call signs laid out.
And depending on how you want to handle it, you can have a column that says active or retired if you don't want people to reuse certain numbers. It's up to you.
That's a wonderful idea.
Mostly, I love my spreadsheets, but as much as we can consolidate as possible.
I do not like having to go through 15 spreadsheets just to find one piece of information. I'm gonna be honest. I very much practice the KISS method. You know, keep it simple, stupid.
That's the best radio acronym out there.
Mm-hmm.
How are ride-alongs gonna work?
Right along. That was what it was, Mr. Cakes. Okay, so for the moment, I do believe. Let me pull up
You mean for
SOPs here.
civilians or
Civilians. I know we can do like.
us?
Oh yeah, us. I would just say have them write a little document saying that they won't sue us.
We
If
do
they
have
get-
a portable document printer. Maybe we can
Yeah.
get something programmed in there for them.
Just get a liability waiver, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a basic thing is they stay in the vehicle and they have their body armor on.
And they do
They have
not
to-
provoke the scene.
They don't have weapon on them. They pass a background check.
If a shootout
That
does
would
commence,
definitely have to
drop
be
them off.
something that's discussed a little bit more in detail with a little more people around, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I'd like everybody's opinions on it. Me personally, I don't like civilian ride-alongs. I don't feel that a civilian should ever know what our business is and how we handle things.
I think it would have to have like
They
a
would be limited to do
reasonable
certain things.
request.
Yeah.
I could see like if we ever get like a medical examiner that's brand new to the force and they want to see how we process scenes or respond, like that would make sense, not just somebody who's like,
Yeah. See, I don't
I'm
see
bored on a Tuesday.
I don't see medical examiners, any kind of EMS worker as a civilian, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
When I say civilian, I mean any Tom or Nancy off the street.
How it worked with
If they
civilian
hold a government
ride-alongs.
job, they hold a little bit of higher ranking, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
How it worked with civilian ride-alongs when I used to do them is they wouldn't be allowed in the cell area. If there's a shootout, we'll drop them off on the side of the street. Uh, like if we're doing important business talk, the ride-along would end. Like they just wouldn't be able to see like the confidential stuff or like go in the confidential areas. So like they would have to sit at someone's desk that they're going on a ride-along with when they're writing reports and all that stuff.
Just don't like leaving people on the side of the road. That's a very bad look on the department. Like, oh, I'm sorry, we're in a shootout. You need to get out of my car. I've got to go to this. I understand it, but it's also one of those things of civilian ride-alongs will be a far in the future thing when we're fully established and up and going, along with the very strict rules if we do that. But like I said, this is not a this is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. Me and Mr. Bronson do definitely have a little bit more say when it comes to policies and procedures. But, he checks me and I check him. And that's, how we kind of keep things balanced. And I would like to leave this one up to a vote for everybody. My vote is no.
Can make that
But it
easily
still
right
needs
now.
to be discussed more. Mr. Bronson, I see your mouth moving, but nothing coming out.
So I was debating it. I see the problems with it. Um, I don't see too many wanting to go for ride-alongs and things of the such.
I feel
But
like the only thing you would get is like news reporters. That's the only thing.
I guess I'm kind of in between. I would say maybe we have applications for it, and it's at the discretion of the commissioners. If you don't see a need, you decline it. But there could
Okay.
be, from a community outreach standpoint, there could be a benefit to it. There could be potential for a new recruit, but
Mhm.
they would have to pass that application process.
I'm agreeing with Quentin here. I'm more middle of the road when it comes to this.
It's a very back and forth thing for me. I see the need for it with the community outreach and stuff like that, and I guess I could also touch on that slightly while we're here. I do plan on doing community outreach events. Maybe not monthly, but when we're needed, when we have a little bit of a bad reputation or a civil unrest. I planned on doing different activities with the community and kind of giving back to help us, keep our image clean and professional, but also let people know that we are at the end of the day people first and foremost. We are officers and we do uphold the law, but we also are people and we do have personalities and kind of let our personalities shine through these community outreach events. One idea I had for a starting event for us is maybe a hiking expedition on Mount Chiliad, or maybe something like a bike race around the highways where we give out, bicycles for everybody to ride, and we, have different checkpoints where they can get different objects, to kind of commemorate their journey and their trip, like donuts and coffee and just different, little various things they can collect along the way, and then have like a little I would say a cookout at the ending place where we all just, spend a bit of time together and have fellowship with the community.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I did have a thought earlier in the day of making a SASP certified Twitter
Okay.
squat, excuse me.
Squawk.
So we would, make a username and a password, and we would put that out in like a high command chat, and the high command members will be able to log into that, post their events that they're going to be doing, and also like Amber Alerts, like say Amber Alert, be on the lookout for this man. He's armed and dangerous. If you have any information or any regards, you can make a 911 and get information.
I wouldn't recommend putting out an Amber Alert. An Amber Alert is for children
Well, you know what I
that are
mean.
missing. You mean a bolo?
Yeah, Bolo.
Be on the lookout.
There's a specific term for it, but Amber Alert. Who knows? There may be a missing child with.
The Amber Alert, darling, is for children, missing and endangered children.
Listen,
It's
okay.
actually called Amber's Law.
Well, Amber, never heard of her.
Well, it's probably because of the fact that she went missing, darling.
It's actually a really good case study to read up on.
It's a wonderful one. I highly recommend it.
But totally, I see the benefit to what you're saying. I would agree with it. There would still need to be SOP guidelines on who and what can post and have access to that account.
I definitely agree. It also needs to be logged every time somebody logs into that account and posts something. If somebody is not, logging something, then they don't get access to that anymore.
Speaking of Amber
The
Alert, I just
only-
got an Amber Alert.
Oh my. The only thing that I see being a foreseeable problem with that is if we have a high ranking officer defect from the force and they still have access to that account, because I do not know if you can change your password. I don't do the social media very well.
That's a great question.
Should be able
Let me
to.
look at my own Squawk.
Yeah, you can change your password.
You can change your password on. Okay, that does help a little bit with my concerns. What would need to be changed, if there's any changes in rank by any means.
Oh, it's just the same standard policy of changing the evidence combinations when somebody leaves and they have access to evidence.
Oh, that's another note. All of our evidence will be corresponding with our incident report number down in the evidence room. So if you have incident report 001 and you have evidence from that, you would put it in locker 001.
Do we have lockers for both reports and incidents, or?
I do believe we do. Currently, I have to recheck that because some of our stuff got moved around. For some god awful reason, that kangaroo man or somebody came in here and moved.
Kangaroo again.
I don't think it was kangaroo man. I think it was another gentleman. But some things got touched. Somebody got grabby with things and moved it around a little bit. But that happens. It's life. But I have to go down there and check again later on. But right now there is a evidence locker, and then there is a general stash. And I do believe the general stash is for any reports, and then the evidence locker is for arrests or incidents.
Which, to that we're on the topic of that, for me, with my past, we've defined as incidents as like an arrest report or something greater, like a larger investigation. If you were to respond to a call, say like a bank robbery, and there were no arrests made, but you still wanted to record it, it would just be a report, so you can show the different types of criminal activity. Is that statement true for what we want here, or?
But an
Okay.
arrest made, I believe it would be a report more than an incident.
I do believe I think you got it backward, Mr.
Yeah.
Bronson. It's an incident, not a report.
Correct. You can add in reports. You can't add an arrestee.
I do believe
Reports are
so.
more for informational.
Correct.
It's just a matter of like how much do you want us to be on the side of report writing?
Reports would
report
fall
writing
under more
would-
like
would-
investigations, I believe.
So for reports, I would say your basic traffic stops where you might issue a small citation. Well, that also should be an incident actually.
Yeah, anytime
let me
you
look more
do a
here.
fine or
Yeah, fines and any kind of jail time should always be an incident. Reports would be, somebody's car got stolen. You know, if there was a situation where somebody didn't know exactly what happened to them, like they got, bonked in the back of the head and they woke up in the hospital, and they're giving you, what details they can remember, you would put that in a report. And then you could always, if you do lead to an arrest off of that report, you can reference back in your incident to report the report number. As well as anytime we interact with civilians. If you're, confiscating something from a civilian, but it's not like an arrest, situation where, you patted somebody down, you found some lock picks on them, you would go ahead and put that in a report. Because you can tag the civilian that was involved, as well as add photo evidence via the gallery. You can tag it as, confiscation, and you can also put officers involved in it as well.
Wonderful. And I do apologize. I'm going to have to leave here in the next few minutes to go to my second job.
Oh, you're perfectly fine. We understand, darling. I think this
Don't let
meeting is
us
just
keep
about concluded.
I believe your notes are gone.
I was just about to ask you, did you wipe my notes off the whiteboard, Mr. Bronson?
They
Nope.
I thought you did. They wiped about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
10
you know,
minutes.
I looked back over my shoulder and noticed that, and I was like, "Oh, guess I did that." You know, I might have used that temporary ink that fades out over time. I
Mm.
tend to, you know, have a little bit of a issue with picking up the wrong pen.
Well, good thing we're recording this meeting.
Of course, of course. That's why we have recordings.
All right, so I got a few more points.
Okay, Mr. Cakes, go ahead.
Roster. When are we gonna be able to put the ranks and people in them?
As soon as possible.
Do-
Now that we've set call signs, we should be good to go.
Alrighty.
Every person that you see in our Discordia is currently a captain. Besides Mr. Riggs, he is currently sitting at sergeant.
Alrighty. Then the senior officer.
Well, actually, that's not true. Senior Officer Rosenberg as well as his canine donut.
Canine donut.
Canine donut. Okay. Then I saw another sergeant on the business app.
I do believe there's a lieutenant. You know, we might just me and you have to sit down and do that after this meeting. There are a few
Mhm.
other individuals that are hired on now that I think about it.
For applications, we will. How would that work? Command vote on it? Kai command vote on it? What's up?
On applications, I don't mind selecting a handful of people to conduct interviews. I don't. Do you see a problem with that, Mr. Bronson?
No, not really.
You know, maybe 3 people to do interviews, and they all interview in the same room. You know, all 3 of them in there, and then they take a vote on whether or not to bring them on.
Alright. Alright.
Uh,
You said
Sorry,
we're
Mr.
gonna.
Bronson.
Oh, sorry.
oh no, go for it, Mr. Cakes.
Nah,
I'll bring it up
it's
after.
a whole different thing. So go ahead if it's related.
Oh, the application thing. If I'm guessing we could decide maybe on like a someone comes over and wants to apply for a job, and they have a decent amount of experience in it. We could fast track them past cadet at all, or
I'm perfectly fine with setting people at a officer level if they have prior experience. But you do need to let them know that they are at a probationary officer rank. That if we see that they are not, you know, exactly telling us the whole truth or not willing to adapt to our department's policies or procedures, they will be knocked down to cadet.
I just wanted to clear that up.
You're talking of walk-in
Definitely.
interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, we've done that a few times.
Just makes it I've had to start over at cadet more times than I can count, and it's kind of
Yeah.
frustrating after a while.
I definitely agree with that.
You can have a transfer policy or something in the SOPs if they can prove or pass a bait test. Honestly.
Ooh, that's a wonderful idea, Mr. Quinn. Maddie, write that down, darling. Write that down. That's a good one.
Wonderful. I do apologize. I have to go, but you can find me in the emails if you need me.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
Be
you.
safe.
You too, guys.
For the fridge and the repairs topic, when our PD budget does get up to a certain amount of money, will we be doing like transaction with certain mechanic shops and food places?
I'm not sure on the mechanic shops, but we will be doing it with the food places. I will have the fridge stocked once a month by various businesses. That food will be a free for all. Obviously, don't take more than what you need because you do need to be able to give food out to hostages and, you know, civilians that might be starving on the street and stuff like that, and then also feed yourself. But that will be catered through the PD fund.
And if it's abused, it's removed, I'm guessing.
Correct.
Gotcha. Uh, so I'm gonna scratch out the high caliber And then the FTO overview is getting worked on still. I believe that's it.
Okay, perfect.
Whoa!
Ooh.
Yay.
Oh, that's another thing, Mr. Bronson. We need to get doggy treats.